Lech Lecha, go forth.
Genesis chapter 12. For the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto the land that I will show thee. And I will make thee a great nation, and bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. I will also bless them that bless thee, and curse those that curse thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed, even as the Lord spake unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. Then Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had possessed, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they departed to go to the land of Canaan. And to the land of Canaan they came. So Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, and unto the plain of Moreh. And the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram, and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there built he an altar unto the Lord, which appeared unto him. Afterward, removing thence unto a mountain eastward from Bethel, he pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west side, and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar unto the Lord, and called on the name of the Lord. Again Abram went forth, going and journeying toward the south. Then there came a famine in the land. Therefore Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for there was a great famine in the land. And when he drew near to enter into Egypt, he said to Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it will come to pass that when the Egyptians see thee, they will say, She is his wife. So will they kill me, but they will keep thee alive. Say, I pray thee, that thou art my sister, that I might fare well for thy sake, and that my life may be preserved by thee. Now when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, for she was very fair. And the princes of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her unto Pharaoh. So the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. He entreated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and beeves, and he asses, and men servants, and maid servants, and she asses, and camels. But the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues, because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Then Pharaoh called Abram and said, Why hast thou done this unto me? Wherefore didst thou not tell me she was thy wife? Why saidst thou, She is my sister, that I should take her to be my wife? Now therefore, behold thy wife, take her, and go thy way. And Pharaoh gave men commandment concerning him, and they conveyed him forth, and his wife, and all that he had. Genesis chapter 13. Then Abram went up from Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, toward the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journey from the south towards Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. And Lot also, who went with Abram, had sheep and cattle and tents, so that the land could not bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. Also there was a debate between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanites and the Perizzites dwelleth at that time in the land. Then said Abram unto Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray thee, between thee and me, neither between mine herdsmen and thine herdsmen, for we are brethren. Is not the whole land before thee? Depart, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right, or if thou go to the right hand, then I will take the left. So when Lot lifted up his eyes, he saw that all the plain of Jordan was watered everywhere. For before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, it was as a garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou goest unto Zoar. Then Lot chose unto him all the plain of Jordan, and took his journey from the east. And they departed the one from the other. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot abode in the city of the plain, pitched his tent even unto Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked and exceeding sinners against the Lord. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was departed from him, Lift up thine eyes now, and look from the place where thou art, northward and southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which thou seest will I give unto thee, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed be numbered. Arise, walk through the land, in the length thereof and the breadth thereof, for I will give it unto thee. Then Abram removed his tent, and came and dwelled in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. Genesis chapter 14. And in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, and Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of the nations, these men made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and Birsha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shemabir, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. 12 years were they subject to Chedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzims in Ham, and Emims in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their Mount Seir, unto the plain of El Paran, which is by the wilderness. And they returned and came to En Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that dwelt in Hazazon Tamar. Then went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar, and they joined battle with them in the valley of Siddim. To wit, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and the residue fled to the mountain. And they took all the substance of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their victuals, and went their way. They took also Lot, Abram's brother's son, and his substance, for he dwelt at Sodom, and departed. Then came one that had escaped, and told Abram the Hebrew, which dwelt in the plain of Mamre the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, which were confederate with Abram. When Abram heard that his brother was taken, he brought forth of them that were born and brought up in his house 318, and pursued them unto Dan. Then he and his servants divided them against them by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left side of Damascus. And he recovered all the substance, and also brought again his brother Lot, and his goods, and the women also, and the people. After that he returned from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and all the kings that were with him. Came the king of Sodom forth to meet him in the valley of Sheveth, which is by the king's dale. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was a priest of the Most High God. Therefore he blessed him, saying, Blessed art thou, Abram, of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thine hand. And Abram gave him tithes of all. Then the king of Sodom said unto Abram, Give me the persons, and take the goods to thyself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up mine hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take of all that is thine, so much as a thread or a shoe latcheth, lest thou shouldst say, I have made Abram rich, save only that which the young men have eaten, and the parts of the men which went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their parts. Genesis chapter 15. After these things the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy buckler, and thy seed exceedingly great reward. And Abram said, O Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of mine house is this Eliezer of Damascus? Again Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, wherefore, lo, a servant of mine house shall be mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This man shall not be thine heir, but one that shall come out of thine own bowels, he shall be thine heir. Moreover, he brought him forth and said, Look up now unto heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And Abram believed the Lord, and he counted that to him for righteousness. Again he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldeans, to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, O Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? Then he said unto him, Take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, a turtle dove also, and a pigeon. So he took all these unto him, and divided them in the midst, and laid every piece one against another, but the birds he divided not. Then fowls fell on the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. And when the sun went down, there fell an heavy sleep unto Abram, and lo, a very fearful darkness fell upon him. Then he said to Abram, Know for a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs 400 years, and shall serve them, and they entreat them evil. Notwithstanding, the nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. But thou shalt go unto thy fathers in peace, and shall be buried in a good age. And in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the wickedness of the Amorites is not yet full. Also, when the sun went down, there was a darkness, and behold, a smoking furnace, and a firebrand, which went between those pieces. In that same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river Euphrates. Then Kenites, and the Kenizzites, and Cadmonites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaims, and the Amorites also, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. Genesis chapter 16. And Sarai, Abram's wife, bore him no children, and she had a maid, an Egyptian, Hagar by name. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, the Lord hath restrained me from childbearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I shall receive a child by her. And Abram obeyed the voice of Sarai. Then Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram has dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram for his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her dame was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said to Abram, Thou doest me wrong. I have given my maid into thy bosom, and she seeth that she hath conceived, and I am despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between me and thee. Then Abram said to Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thine hand. Do with her as it pleaseth thee. Then Sarai dealt roughly with her, wherefore she fled from her. The angel of the Lord found her beside a fountain in the way of Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence comest thou, and whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from my dame, Sarai. Then the angel of the Lord said to her, Return to thy dame, and humble thyself under her hands. Again the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will so greatly increase thy seed, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. Also the angel of the Lord said unto her, See, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, for the Lord hath heard thy tribulation. And he shall be a wild man. His hand shall be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Then she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God lookest on me. For she said, Have I not also here looked after him that seeth me? Wherefore the well was called Beer Lahai Roi. Lo, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name which Hagar bare, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bare him Ishmael. Genesis chapter 17. When Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am God, all-sufficient. Walk before me, and be thou upright. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. Then Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, Behold, I make my covenant with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. Also I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and will make nations of thee. Yea, kings shall proceed of thee. Moreover, I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give thee and thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, even all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. Again God said unto Abraham, Thou also shalt keep my covenant, thou and thy seed after thee, in their generations. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you, and thy seed after thee. Let every man-child among you be circumcised. That is, ye shall circumcise the foreskin of your flesh, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. And every man-child of 8 days old among you shall be circumcised in your generations, as well as he that is born of thine house, as he that is bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed. He that is born in thine house, and he that is bought with thy money, must needs be circumcised. So my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. But the uncircumcised man-child in whose flesh the foreskin is not circumcised, even that person shall be cut off from his people, because he has broken my covenant. Afterward God said unto Abraham, Sarai thy wife shall not be called Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. And I will bless her, and I will also give thee a son of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be the mother of nations. Kings also of people shall come of her. Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said unto God, O that Ishmael might live in thy sight. Then God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as concerning Ishmael, I have heard thee. Lo, I have blessed him, and I will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation of him. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee the next year at this season. And he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. Then Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that was bought with his money, that is, every man-child among the men of Abraham's house, and he circumcised the foreskin of the flesh in that selfsame day, as God had commanded him. Abraham also himself was 90 years old and 9, when the foreskin of his flesh was circumcised. And Ishmael his son was 13 years old, when the foreskin of his flesh was circumcised. The selfsame day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. And all the men of his house, both born in his house and bought with the money of the stranger, were circumcised with him.